And here, in fabulous South Australia, we're here with Volvo's new electric C40. I did notice this while I was following whoever I was following. That looked very cool. But it's solid, so it's not as cool as I thought. It's just a hinge cover. If the shape looks smooth, it's because it shares its basic structure, its platform, the batteries, and even the manufacturing process and facility with Polestar's Polestar 2 and the Volvo XC40, the small SUV, which is very, very similar in size and shape to the C40. The good thing about the C40 is that Volvo weren't starting from the ground. They already had the XC40 to go by. What I'm in is the dual motor version, and the dual motor version is really grippy, really nippy. The car I was in this morning, the single motor version, drives through the front wheels. This thing feels like it will not leave the road. Inside, of course, if this looks familiar, it is because it looks very much like the XC40 that we drove recently. Same Google OS or Google Android OS, same gear lever, same center console, everything's the same except for the back. Similar amount of space, and with the glass roof, it feels similarly spacious. The ride though, I think, feels fantastic. And even on the very, very twisty roads, I was using the one pedal driving because it's so easy. You forget the second pedals even there. Oh, we're just coming into Tanunda. Just in case you wondered where we are in the Barossa Valley in South Australia. I thought we'd just start with the quirks and features of this car. And it mainly revolves around that back. Now you can see looking back, the space in the rear window is very small. This is a car that would benefit from one of those smart rear view mirrors. With most electric cars, putting the power figures on doesn't really tell you how much power it feels like it has. And this feels like it has a bunch. The chassis feels incredibly tight. And the good thing about the dual motor versions is that they have all-wheel drive, which makes the cornering even better. There's no hiding that heft. She is a hefty lassie. And it's probably 200 or 300 kilograms heavier than the equivalent ICE version. One thing about the interior, on the single motor version, this rubber insert here is a map of Gothenburg, where Volvo's head office is. Now this is not exactly a smooth tarmac road, and there is a little bit of road noise, but because there's no engine noise, all you hear is the road noise. I'm okay with that though. Now, this is smooth tarmac, so, oh my God, this is so quiet. It's difficult to explain to a person who's never been in an electric car what it feels like to drive an electric car. The power is immediate and urgent. Now, funnily enough, this, like the XC40, the C40 doesn't have a lot in the way of road feel. You just have to know that where you point the steering wheel, it is going to go. And Volvo as a company, they want to be green and ecological as far as a car company can.
Turn left.
And they want to be carbon neutral. Every car company wants that, but Volvo is actually going to achieve it. By 2030, all Volvos will be electric. Every single one. However, I think Australia, they're probably going to be electric before that. Who knows? I understand there's some announcements coming. Wow, that was amazing. I mean, it's not snap your neck fast, but it is still very fast. Now, I've put the cruise control on, which has also activated the steering control. And I can see on the dash in front of me the little orangey sort of light things come up. It's take it up just a little bit. Now, we've been driving around all day. We've done several hundred kilometres, and this thing's sitting at 62%. I'm surprised at how economical with battery power this has been. Volvo's really proud of their heritage, and they're proud of what they've been able to achieve, and they're proud of these products. They've got recycled materials, and at the end of its life it can be recycled. The battery, should something go wrong with this battery, the battery can be taken to Volvo and they can individually fix bits of it. People worry about the cost of a battery all the time, and that's one of the most common questions I get asked. How much is a battery? Well, a battery is probably half the cost of the car, truth be known. But you don't have to replace the whole battery. They just replace individual cells. And if at the end of the warranty the battery is less than usually around 70%, they'll replace it. Even if this car was charged on coal-fired power, it's still more efficient and puts out less CO2 than it would if this was an internal combustion engine running on petrol or diesel. The thing is, people that hate electric cars because they don't like change. And change is coming, whether they like it or not. And in many ways, Tesla has had the market on their own. And now other car companies are coming in. You can buy a car like this that is as nice to drive as a Tesla, if not nicer. Certainly looks cooler than a Tesla. And it's not weird inside like a Tesla. So you don't have to modify your driving style in any way. You don't have to get used to anything else. You can just get in this car and drive. That's the other thing. The key is in the center console here, but that can just stay in your pocket. Putting your bum on the seat starts the car. Once you sit on the seat, it's ready to go. It's ready for you to put your seatbelt on, put your foot on the brake and pull it into gear. The C40 just feels so stable. You can definitely feel the heft of the batteries in the tight corners, but on the highway it feels no different to any other car. And rather than bring another sedan into the market, Volvo have thought, well, we're going to bring in a car that is part SUV and part hatchback. There's a couple of other things that the C40 dual motor has that the single motor doesn't. It's got the upgraded Harman Kardon sound system, which sounds amazing. We've left the highway, now we're back in city traffic again. So we've had an experience today of really tight, twisty Adelaide hills, beautiful long stretches of straight freeway with gentle curves and gentle bends. And now city stuff. And of course, now I am back in town. I can use the one pedal driving to its most efficient. Just one pedal, as I said, and even in the tight twisty bits, I was still using just the one pedal driving, and you'd be surprised at how easily you get used to it. C40 isn't cheap. It's not cheap for any car. It's not even cheap for a Volvo. But remember, even as power prices are set to increase, it's still cheaper than running the same thing in a petrol car. And that's something worth considering. Even as power prices go up, especially if you have access to solar at home, it's a different proposition altogether. And finally, with the seat set for me, there is just this much room in the back. Headroom limited because the roof swoops down over the back. And I did have to duck down under this to get in. But you can see there's a little thing here, and that's where you'll put the little cage in so that you can make the cargo area completely separate. And that is all this week from the Volvo C40. I think this is an absolute cracker. I think it looks great, reasonably priced. decentish range, but above all, it's a Volvo. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and there to subscribe.